So we have another good episode for you today. Really nice episode. We have some really meaty stuff we're going to show you today. I'm going to talk about a couple moves that I made today, a couple things that I'm considering, and we're going to talk about some trends, as we always do, which are kind of the leading factor in kind of what we want to be doing. We want to be basically making moves off of what we have high confidence of what's going to be occurring in the future. So today, as a whole, the market went up half a point. Dow did. NASDAQ went up 0.8. S&P went up half a point. And we went up almost 2. Basically 2 if you add after hours. So it's okay. Not huge. Not great. We'll take positive. But nothing earth-shatteringly great. A couple things to note today. As far as movers, one of the bigger movers today was Dave & Buster's. The reason I bring this one up 8% today, is this is the epitome of a COVID stock, right? Here's a place where you're going to go inside with a bunch of people, central air conditioning, kind of recycled air, indoors. Everybody's touching things in close contact. I mean, if you're going to catch a virus, forget COVID, like the flu or cold or anything, it's going to be in one of these places. So if this is moving at 8%, that tells you exactly kind of where things are going. Now, I bought this back at $6 a share, which is like a 450% return right now. Is it 450? 350% profit, which would be leading the pack right now if I still kept it. But you make moves. We have other ones that are winning too, so you can't really complain too much about it. But but when I see buying it at, buying it back here at $6. Yeah, I only bought $350 worth of it basically. So, I only bought that much of it. Wouldn't have profited that much as a whole. So, but that's a great sign when it comes to the economy. It tells you in a very encapsulated way kind of where people are at the moment. Another one that went up 11% today was Blink Charging. This one is great. I think this one with the Biden presidency is going to absolutely tear up. And I hate those two words, Biden presidency. But with that being said, it was kind of basically averaging around $9 a share. It's sitting here at 35 today. And, with kind of what they do, you're going to see this basically jammed up. We have some profit taking. There was a little bit of a disturbance also in here as far as the EV market, but it's taking off again. So that's a good sign for that sector as a whole. So if you don't have this stock, it's definitely worth considering. All right, one stock that I was looking at today, I actually woke up, opened up my stock app, and they were talking about, let's see if it's still here or not. Probably not, because they recycle these things. Anyway, was this stock called, it's called Next ID. And so I was looking at this, and they basically, I'll give you a little bit about what this stock does, but this stock went on a tear recently, so you can't really see it from that one. But it was basically sitting at 40 cents a share, and it's now at $1.50. So it's gone up basically, it's tripled in value over the last few days. And that's not even accounting for the fact that it was over at $2. So it was actually almost quintupling. And so I was looking at that earlier today and thinking, okay, do I want to buy after it goes up, and just be chasing a return that's already happened, or kind of what do I want to do? So I saw, it kind of meandering, and then I saw it go down. So I really started looking at it, and I wanted to get a sense on what this stock was. So I went in here, and one of the things this does, I was looking at here, 4 things to know about Next Ideas Share Soar. Basically, they do 4 things. They talk about the Internet of Things. So they focus on security. So if you have a smart refrigerator or a smart TV, I'm still waiting for a smart shower. I'd love for the ability to turn on my shower from bed, or as soon as my alarm goes off, it knows to do that. But basically, they focus on security. So the question is, where is it going? I don't know. But a security company for basically LAN products is like local area network products. Is definitely an interesting look at. So then I also looked at this, and it said among its offers is the Wallet, which is a smart wallet. So I was like, all right, what's that? Well, the company also has something called Fly, a digital credit card developed in relation to World Ventures. And basically, we're going to look at that and try to find out exactly what that means. And so they asked, in looking at this, I looked a little deeper and it said, what exactly has it taken off today? The run's likely connected to the recent success of Bitcoin. Bitcoin passed 2,000 early this morning. Well, that's when this article was written, which was yesterday. It's already over 23,000 today. And so as I was looking at that, I wanted to get a little sense on what it was. So I went into the next article, and so they talk a little bit about the mobile bio solution, basically a security for mobile commerce, mobile computing, things like that. Had a company called Fitbit, and they spun it off. FitPay allows users to spend money at Bitcoin stores. Garmin acquired FitPay from NextID, so Garmin ended up buying those off. So here's a company that basically it's tied in with Bitcoin. So it says there's a ripple effect between the price of Bitcoin going up and the public companies that have been involved with cryptocurrency increasing. So you look at the fact that they're tied in with that. You look at something right now where they have a digital credit card, which is, imagine, it's going to now allow you to actually spend money with Bitcoin. And for me, this was an absolute no-brainer. So anyway, I went ahead and put in a limit order, 1,000 shares, put in $1.35. It's sitting here. Oh, shoot. Did I even put this in? No, I did put it at $1.35. It got down to $1.39, but now it's up to $1.54. So I'm not necessarily going to, it's going up right now. I don't want to necessarily have it go down and lose money off it. So I'm going to retain the 135. It's not a huge thing that I need to buy. It's not my typical COVID buy, but it is a crypto one, where it's kind of an emerging trend stock. So we're going to see if it goes back down to 135. If it gets up to like 170, then I'll kind of reevaluate it. But for right now, that's something that we have a limit buy-in for right now. Eliss Gaming, this is the one that I told you I hate. So because it's always gone up and we've never been able to chase it. So this one is one that I'm like, all right, this one actually had a down day today. It went down 8% in the market, got down all the way to 356. And I've been trying to get an order in. I actually placed a market order at 371 and it didn't go through. So this one, I'm just sick of watching it go up and up and up. So we're going to put an order at 377. How many shares did we do? We did 500. So we're going to put a buy in here and make sure that this goes through. All right, so this one's going to go through. And the reason I looked at that partially is just I'm sick of looking at it go up and up and up. Is they said the incoming CEO, Matt Monteverde, said the company's new sports book platform is a powerful gaming offering in the North American market. Their sports platform works with sports bar operators in Washington, D.C. It helps licensed operators quickly analyze risk by using sophisticated tech-based risk management, processing technology, and adaptive business intelligence. The company has a proven and successful iGaming solution with a sound technology stack. So with that being said, and they're talking about sports betting, one of the things that I was looking at was, I'll show you something real quick here if we have it here. All right, so there was a Benzinga. So with Robinhood, they send you these stocks to watch every day, and one of them I looked at today, it said DraftKings. So research shop Rosenblatt highlighted the belief in a higher probability of legalizing online sports betting in the state of New York. They cited recent commentary by a senator and by the governor. And so I thought, all right, let's kind of put these together here. Let's kind of put this together here. And they're sitting here doing sports betting in Washington, and New York is about to, take off. They're talking about DraftKings taking off. DraftKings has always done really well. And so I'm like, we got to get into, if we're going to do some sports betting one, let's get in before it gets approved by New York, because that's a huge, huge market for sports betting. So I wanted to take a look at a little bit further and find out what was going on with the insiders. And so Michelle Chiavarella, who's the CEO, just bought 58,000 shares of Eliss Game Technology. Now, the interesting thing I notice here is she bought it at a price of $3 per share, which means it's not a traditional stock option where, like, if you're the CEO, you get it at a stock strike price of 1 cent, meaning technically you pay 1 cent and you get to sell it for whatever the price is. So basically you're getting free stock, but she's buying this at market. And then beyond that, we look in December 3rd, November 27th, and November 25th. She bought 21,000, 73,000, 78,000, 78,000 shares. So we're looking at 34 grand, 150 grand. We're up to about 190 grand, quarter mil and a quarter mil. So she's basically up to about $700 and something $1,000 in stock, in addition to the 200,000. So she's close to $900,000 that she bought of her own company's stock. So that's a big trigger. At that point, I said, look, we're going to buy this stock, period. And that's why I decided, we're going to get on this no matter what. Gosh, it's still going up. All right, I got to get, this is just nuts. All right. So we're going to go 382. Somebody's going to sell me this stock. All right, it got purchased at 380. So, all right, so that's good. So we got in at 380. 380. All right, perfect. All right. All right, so that being said, talk about a couple others. I was taking a look at Bitcoin today. Bitcoin went all the way up to 23,700, but it's definitely really volatile. So we look at it over the period of a month. Basically average around 1,800 for the month. But if we look at it for the year, it was down to 5,000 at one point. So I wanted to kind of compare it to another one that I owned. I used to own Bitcoin, made some decent money on it. I also owned BitCash. So we looked at over the last month. I want to kind of compare trends between the two. And they're kind of the similar, but they don't always behave the exact same. So I basically looked at Bitcoin, and at this point right here, it went up, down, kind of mitigated moves, and then had a big move at the end right here. Whereas Bitcoin went way up, had a little bit of a bump, went down a little bit, but hasn't moved as much. So this one tends to move a little bit more than Bitcoin does. So I thought, okay, well, let's get into this one. And let's see, we have an order where we basically said, okay, it's sitting here at 309. If we look at it for the day, it was up to 324. It got all the way down to 303. I don't have to get into Bitcoin. I mean, we haven't even talked about this, I don't think, once in any serious way since I've been doing those videos. So I thought, okay, if it gets down to 290, we'll put in an order and get in on it. And the reason is, if we look at it over the last 5 years, I'll show you something. So when Bitcoin hit the 20,000 mark, it was in the December of 2017. So if we look at Bitcoin Cash around the same time, it got all the way up to 2,900 around the same time. So if we're sitting here buying at 290 and it gets up to 2,900 again, that's a tenfold increase in the price of Bitcoin, which would be freaking amazing. So with that being said, maybe let's take a look at this a little further. 308 got down to 303. Maybe I think what we're going to do is drop this down to 300. And all right, so we'll adjust that one out a little bit. And see if it goes down a little bit further. So we'll see if that happens. Now, there were a couple that I was looking potentially selling. We were looking at Two Harbors investment. So I was looking at my portfolio here, and I saw Two Harbors. It was basically break even. And this one hasn't really jumped a whole lot recently. So I wanted to take a little further and see if it made sense to do that. So we looked at it over the last year. It's basically at $15 a share. Hasn't really moved much in that whole time. And this is the stock for those who aren't familiar. These are basically doing residential mortgage-backed securities, mortgage servicing, basically residential mortgage, a mortgage REIT. And so this one was up at 15. It's sitting here at 6 right now. It's about a 2.5 to 1 estimated profit to get back up to this number. But I looked at this one, and before it had its big jump, it was about $10 a share. It's sitting at $6.80 right now. But before the COVID thing hit, it was at $15 a share. So we're sitting at 6 right now. That's basically, still it's a lot of upside in this one. So I don't necessarily want to give up on it. The only thing that I see that really is kind of strange is in June when everybody had a bump, this thing really didn't move very much. So with that being said, I'm considering putting in a sell order on this, but not right now. Target Hospitality, that's one that we have a limit buy placed. We were looking at this one. Basically, you can say February 20th, it was around 480. Realistically, early on in the month, it was 550. Had a big jump in June, so it went up to 364. Got down all the way down to basically 82 cents and has bumped up to about 180. So this one right now, I'm not selling at all. I might consider selling it at some point. We're about break even on this. Literally, we're break even on this right now. But the positive volatility on this, and if we look at the track record on this, it's lived its entire life before COVID for the most part. Well, actually, it was up here, and then it dropped down to about right here. So even if it sits in this area, it's about 530, and we're sitting at 180. So it's basically, a tripling of our money. So we're going to hold off on that right now. But these are two that I would say that we are going to, we can at least list. We can at least list as potentials and see kind of what we want to do. All right, so looking at kind of a go forward, it's a little bit early. It's about 2:30 Pacific time right now. Markets are still looking positive, but this is so small, 0.06. It's basically break even. So I saw this article, and it said Joe Biden's financial team could create a stock bubble. And so one of the things that I read on here was basically the gist of this article said that he had nominated, where is she? Janet Yellen. Oh, no, I need to click on that one. I didn't know it was a link to the Fed chair. And she's an easy money person. So she loves quantitative easing. It's all she did when she was in the Fed. That's all she did. So with that being said, they're thinking that she's basically going to just start printing money over and over again. And so the reason that's important is because one of the things they wrote here, and I'm sorry to get too technical here, but they said right now inflation's not a worry. It's risen less than 2% over the past 12 months, mainly because the job market's been amazing. So when the job market's amazing, inflation generally doesn't move up a whole lot as a whole. So interest rate, and he said also interest rates aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They've been stuck at zero for several more years, which released yesterday. What that means is that if interest rates are higher, people are going to stick their safe money into treasury bonds because they earn money. But if interest rates are near zero, they're not really getting paid anything. So they're not going to go to treasury. So they're either going to go into bonds or in the stock market. And so when that happens, and this the first time we ever really saw this was after 9/11, a number of years back, that created a huge bubble, and it stuck around for about 5 to 6 years, and it burst with the housing crisis. So he says some worry that this may be causing bubbles to form, stocks are at all-time highs, and housing market is red hot, mainly because COVID has not hit people who are well-to-do. It's always hit people who are working in the service industry. So what this means is the stock market's going to continue to go up, at least for the time being. So we're in a really good spot. But down the line, yeah, there is a risk for a bubble to burst, but we're not really going to stick around. I'm not sticking around long enough for that to be a factor. So just some things going on. We'll just talk about some stock, some COVID stuff just to wrap up. They kind of were backed up. They added some new COVID deaths in here. It wasn't over one day. It was over a number of days. So we'll talk about kind of some of the numbers that we have here. Hospitalizations are basically steady. COVID hospitalizations are going up. I'll do the math for you. There's basically 4,615 hospital beds in use. There's 500 fewer hospital beds than normal. Like if you take all the COVID hospital beds out, you basically have a drop of 500 hospital beds. And what that tells people is that people who don't want to go to the hospital if they don't have COVID because they're worried they're going to get COVID there. So, but with that being said, we still have 1,500 beds available in San Diego. We see the hospitalizations going down a little bit. We'll see kind of where that goes as a trend. From here, we'll leave that one last because I always like looking at that one last. Let's see, COVID cases in the neighborhood. This one's actually gone up kind of crazy. Number of cases up. This is Escondido up in San Diego. So that was kind of new as we saw there. But Perth at 100,000 residents, it's up there. But the increase in COVID that we see right, where is it? Let's see, we'll take a look at, yeah, that's the demographic breakdown. We're not going to look at that. But the increase that we see in, I don't know if they still have that chart up here. The increase in cases that we saw used to be just mainly down by the border. We see just a bigger uptick up here. So whatever, it's like I always say, if you're playing a single deck blackjack and you've gone through half the deck and you haven't got a face card, odds are you're going to be loaded with face cards coming up. So that's kind of what we are seeing here. But overall, the overall risk is still the same. If you're over 70 and above and have underlying health conditions, you better hunker down, because if we look at over the last week, 73, 69, 71, 63, 74, 87, 50, 57, that's the young buck, 83, 78, 60, 97. That person's lucky to live that long. I think the low here is 56. We have a 90 right here. And as we go in here, it's the same thing, 60s, 70s, 90s, 70s, 89, 85, 70s, 92, 73, 66, 84, 77, and 90. And they're all underlying medical conditions. So that with a vaccine coming out, these are the people that are going to be getting it most likely the soonest. So the time frame for us to really start benefiting off of our COVID portfolio is going to be very, very short. So with that being said, we'll take a look at our overall production. We have some good news today. So number one, Caesar is our number one producer at 329. Signet Jewelers at 313. Crestwood Equity just popped into our quadruple at 300%. Every's moving toward that way at 213. Redwood Trust is kind of right in the same pack with them. And overall, we're almost double what we bought these individual stocks for from what we initially invested. We are basically 17% more than tripling our investment. So overall, what we have here, we have our buy for Target Hospitality. We're still looking at that. It's at 150. Current price is 180. It's probably not going to fill, but we'll keep it there. We also have a potential sell, so I'm kind of undecided on this stock. Bitcoin, we have a limit order buy. Hopefully we'll go through. Eliss Gaming or whatever it is went through today. And then Next ID, that is the Internet of Things and digital wallet company. That one, we'll see if it goes through. But overall, we're in a good spot. With that being said, it's Thursday. We'll see you Friday if we have any good news or any noticeable news. If not, we'll see you Monday. Talk to you then. To get more information on the sales cheat code, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. Also, down below in the video description, down there, there's a link that takes you to our website that gives you additional content, some additional freebies that we have, and gives you information on some programs that we have that have been proven to help people to make sales easy so that you can make the kind of money you want, live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, and not have to struggle in the process. And what might be the coolest thing of all is you don't have to put much effort into it. It truly is a cheat code that most people don't know about. And it's a cheat code that can change your life today. So click on the link below and let me help you start to experience these results starting right now.